Hi guys, Bingo here. I'm with the Dual Factory for the 40th episode of X-2 Drop, our Yu-Gi-Oh podcast we do every week talking about something relevant or semi-relevant in the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. This week we're not doing product releases or event or meta discussion. We are talking about future card releases and how we think they're going to impact the game. There's been a lot of hype, obviously, for a year or 2 years now for Needlefiber. And I think I wanted to title this Needlefiber's not going to break the TCG, and then Vrains Pack 3.
No.
So there's a lot to unpack with the release of Crystron Needlefiber, because this card, on reveal, it was just absolutely insane. Our card pool was it catered towards this card just being over the top busted. Firewall Dragon, Summon Sorceress. And I think the OCG had Dandy, right?
Oh yeah, they had two. They had two dandies.
So there was a lot that we had to sift through before this card was safe to release. And I think we're at a point now where it's healthy. But Joe, what do you think just initially?
So initially, when I think Needlefiber, right, the card's broken. Like, it just is, like, the plethora of cards that you get access to, what it allows you to do and stuff like that, like, it's just broken. I think it makes every single deck good. That being said, we already lived through actual Needlefiber format, but the card's name was Icehold, and it played equip spells, not tuners. Because everything that you could do with Needlefiber, that we've, like I said, we've already lived through it. Like, there was Goki, and then there's Dark Goki, and then it was just Dark Warrior, and then it was just, can this deck make Icehold an extra link? Yes, then we play it. So now I don't think it's going to be as impactful as it would have been if we got it when it was announced initially from Link Vrains 1 pack or whatever it was called. But I mean, I think it's something that we still have to prepare for. I think there's still plenty of cards to abuse with it. I'm sure there's plenty of strategies that I'm not thinking of that the card just goes good in with naturally.
Yeah, and this card will see play. It's still exceptional, but it's not going to just warp every deck to be broken, because I mean that's kind of what it was before. If you could make this card, you could OTK, and that's true to a certain extent now. But for anybody that doesn't know, Needlefiber's got two effects. When it's link summon, you can summon a level 3 or lower tuner from your deck. But it can't activate its effects this turn. It doesn't matter if the card leaves the field and has a graveyard effect, because that's how you abuse cards like Glow Up Bulb, Steam the Cloak, O-Lion. And then the second effect is during your opponent's main phase or battle phase, you can banish this card, special summon a tuner synchro monster from your extra deck. And they're both hard once per turns. So, obviously, I just mentioned the best cards to bring out with this thing traditionally have been like Steam the Cloak, O-Lion, and Glow Up Bulb. Both are all because they get recurable resources. Glow Up Bulb brings itself back. Steam the Cloak summons a token, and it's got that other effect where you can tribute a card and special summon it, and then you get another token. And then what was it, O-Lion? When it sent to the graveyard, you get a token. And then some people mess around with Jet Synchron and stuff, but... So right now, our toolbox that we can go into after summoning the token just isn't there, because the combo used to be you summon a machine out of the deck, you go into Summon Sorceress, and then Summon Sorceress summons another machine or whatever other attribute or type of monster you got from your tuner. And it's just the insane pluses you get off the card aren't there. It requires other cards to function, and Glow Up Bulb isn't a Boral Sword anymore.
Oh no, not by any stretch of the imagination.
So,
actually, no.
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, no. Glow Up Bulb. Well, no. Glow Up Bulb on its own doesn't equal.
Yeah, no. You need another card. So Glow Up Bulb is a 1-card Needlefiber, which is a 1-card generic Link 3. Or if you have another card, you can go into Link 4. But having to use Needlefiber to summon the Glow Up Bulb, if you can get to Needlefiber, you can special glow up bulb, turn it into Link Rebo, and then bring bulb back, and that's Boral Sword. But you already invested 2 cards, one of them being a tuner, into Needlefiber. So it depends on how much gas your deck has.
It just kind of depends too, because like Needlefiber, it gives you access to a lot of cards that are so like powerful, like you were saying, like Boral Sword's one of them. I'm sure if you adjust the combo, like you can make all the big Link 4s that we have access to now, Needlefiber can make. That's one of the key things here. And like you were saying, like you still have access to all the good tuners, but what we're missing is like the good like generic links you make. Like Needlefiber being able to make summon sorcerers and summon sorcerers, tuning anything out of your deck depending on what you use to make it. Like we're missing a lot of that stuff, but like even though we're missing some of that stuff, you still have access to some of the sweetest cards to go with it. Like for example, the tuner synchro monsters that can summon, like we were mentioning them earlier. Like I remember all the hype behind TG Wonder Magician. That card's still really good. Shooting Riser Dragon is another really good one because it's a level 7 tuner that can send anything from the deck, or any monster, I should say. I feel like that card's gonna see more play because Needlefiber is gonna be coming out. We were also talking about Quandax. It's a level 4 tuner. You were mentioning earlier before we started recording this.
Yeah, it's just one of the options available. It was a card that was like 10 cents, and after Needlefiber got announced, it was like $4,
But like, it's just we're missing so many of the power cards. Like, I'm sure someone's gonna come out and, because like we were just making the joke earlier, but I mean it's no joke that like it's Orca's combo if you make Needlefiber, so that's kind of scary to think about.
Yeah, Needlefiber is just an enabler that if a deck can play it, they're going to play it, and other decks are going to try to play it because it does generate a notable amount of advantage for little investment, and that's what you need to bait out your opponent's responses. So it's a very, very good card, and it's probably going to be played in just about everything, but it's not going to just break the game. And that's the point. It's a great card on release, and we know it, and they're not going to preemptively hit any of the good tuners. They're not going to preemptively hit the card itself. We're going to get a format or two out of, Needlefiber summon bulbs, Needlefiber summon steam. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a generic card, but Konami has since learned their lesson with these generic links that, I think this is the last one we're going to get. And then I guess a Union Carrier, but...
Yeah, the last one we get at this power level, honestly. I mean, but... I don't know. I just think people are like scared of Needlefiber, but I think it's healthy for decks to have a card like this right now, especially since all the problems are already like banned. Because like it really does give a boost to every single deck that's barring True Draco, but we don't talk about True Draco.
Yeah, and I mean we've strictly been talking about the idea of link climbing on your turn. Like this card for synchro strategies and just decks that like want to play synchro monsters. Like, this card is great. The problem with link summoning is it's too hard to play the other extra deck mechanics because they require too much investment, and then you have to, like, free up zone in your extra deck so that you have less link monsters that you have access to, and then 2, you have to have the zone on the field or else you get locked into the one monster. But being able to summon the tuner from the deck and, like, let's say you summon a level 3 tuner and you have a level 5 monster on board, you just get Borload Savage Dragon, then you can continue doing whatever you want. What I'm thinking is there's probably a way to use Needlefiber to play around Nibiru.
Oh, there has to be.
Relatively easily.
Just thinking about what actually like Needlefiber can do, I'm pretty sure it allows you to make... You can make an Appaloosa under 4 summons, I think, and that's actually something to keep notable. Because I'm like, it's 2 summons. You link in the Needlefiber. Needlefiber's effect will summon them. Well, no, it's still 5 summons. But I mean,
yeah, but if they activate it on the summon of Appaloosa, then you can just negate it. So Needlefiber going into Needlefiber's 3. What he summons is 4. Okay, yes, no. So you can't get there. You're right.
No, but it sets you up because it gives you a bunch of stuff. Because then that adds like. You're putting tuners that have graveyard effects in the graveyard, like Steam the Cloak, Blow Up Bulb, Mega Phantom Beast, O-Lion.
Yeah, and it's going to force it's gonna force the Nibiru if they have it, because it's in requiring 2 cards to invest into this play, and if they don't respond to it, you're just gonna have an Appaloosa and have an answer to their hand trap. So
Yeah.
it's a good card. I like it. It makes I say I like it until we get these combo decks ruled in the format again, because I definitely could see this fitting somewhere in the World Legacy weird combo deck somewhere, but I don't know.
We will see. Only time will tell.
All right, so final thoughts on Needlefiber. We're going to move on to Link Vrains Pack 3. We've already been talking about this, Dave, for 10 minutes, so...
Just be ready for it, because someone's going to do something to break it.
Yeah, and just experiment with it. It's such a fun card. If your deck plays at like one tuner, like Brass Bombard or whatever you got to do. What attribute is Needlefiber? Hold on, I forgot.
I think it's light.
No, he's water.
Is he water?
Yeah, all the Krishnas are water.
Hmm.
All right, so Link Vrains Pack 3 is a pretty big deal. There's not that many good cards, and a lot of them aren't going to be in our format for a while. So I'm going to pull up Dual Overload spoilers right now. And right now we don't have that many revealed. So we got Christian Needlefiber or Halquif. I can't even read that.
Whatever you want to call it.
Needlefiber. We're finally getting the Relinquish Link, the Link 1.
Which one?
The
Relinquish.
Yeah, Relinquished Anima. Getting the Flame Swordsman, 5-Headed Dragon, the Bujin Link, the Predaplant Link, Sky Striker Link 2.
I'm actually really excited for the Bujin Link. I think the card's going to be really cool.
It's just nice utility for the XYZs, but... Alright, so... And then the Malefic, that's an effect monster. Oh, and the Tenyu Link. So those are all the ones that are confirmed for Dual Overload. So I'm going to breeze through all these... I'm sorry if you're offended, but bad Link monsters that aren't going to make any impact. So the Smorg, King of Birds, nothing really to say. You got anything to say about it?
I mean, it's a Smorg card.
Yeah, so next, the Reptile Link. There just aren't enough Reptile cards in the game, or extra deck. The Crossroads Dragon, Black Rose Dragon stuff. It's neat. It's not going to do anything. Any thoughts? All right,
I don't know enough about the card, so...
Next card, the Companion Whelp, the Buster Blader support card. It's good. It's good for the deck. I mean, it's not gonna make waves, but it's good that they have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good generic support for them for sure, but it's not gonna break the deck by any means.
Yeah. The Ancient Gears. I'm sorry, I don't like Ancient Gears. The Melodious one. And sorry, I don't like Melodious. Another Mecha Phantom Beast Link. It doesn't do enough, and Wikipedia doesn't have the effect, so we're moving on. The Artifact Link. This is the first one I want to pause on and actually talk about it for a second. Yeah.
So what does the actual Artifact Link do? Because I haven't been able to read it yet.
All right, so it's when another card's effect on the field with a different name then this card is activated. You can set one artifact monster directly from the deck to your spell and trap zone. Destroy any cards set with this effect during your opponent's next end phase. And then it's got another effect. When this Link Summon card is destroyed during your opponent's turn, you can special summon an artifact monster and face-up defense from your graveyard. So it sets up your... It's for an artifact focused deck. It doesn't really work with the engine, but artifact decks are fun if you've never played them. They're really fun to mess around with, but this fixes one of the many problems that strategy has. But it's just a nice card. It gets your card directly from the deck and gets you value. But I just like it.
It's one of those cards that sounds really good when you say it out loud, but in actual practicality, I don't know how well it's going to be.
Yeah, it doesn't do enough to warrant to be played as a sub-engine. It doesn't give you direct access to Scythe. I mean, it does, but no, you'd have to have a way to pop it on your turn, and
Right.
It's not going to happen. Abyss Actor, sorry, the deck sucks. Mayakashi, the Link 4, from what I understand, like, it's okay. But again, Mayakashi, just the extra deck monsters that they have just aren't good. This card's decent, but it's not going to change anything. When your big boss monster sucks, like, you're not going to do anything.
No, I feel that way. Mayakashi kind of got the short end and stuff.
Yeah, like, they're what is it? Their gimmick, I guess, the way they play, like, is super interesting. I mean, thank God Maxi's banned for them, but
Yeah, no, sure.
it's cool, but it's just you don't end up doing anything, and that's the problem.
All you're doing is synchro climbing in a format where you only have one extra monster zone. Like, it doesn't do enough.
Yeah, and your opponent's not going to destroy your cards, so you get additional value. Like, the way the deck was designed just isn't going to function because no one's ever going to destroy your synchro, so you can special summon the other one. The Tenyu Link 4, unfortunately, Yugi doesn't have the effect up, and I didn't really feel like pulling anything else up. I don't really know what it does, so we'll wait and see, I guess. Do you know what it does?
No, not off the top of my hand.
All right, so the Bujin Link monster, it's not just for Bujins. It's generic XYZ support. It's not amazing, but it does have some. It's worth talking about. So the effect's not on screen, but I think it has something to do with you can special summon a level 4. Is it level 4 or level 4 or lower from your hand and graveyard, and then immediately XYZ summon them?
Yeah, I think it has to be the same level as the monsters used in Link.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, yeah, it's not a free, like, making this doesn't generate you the XYZ on its own. You still have to have another card in hand to summon, but it helps to mitigate that initial investment to make a Link 2 and then make an XYZ. But again, right now there's really no application for it outside of, like, specifically playing a niche deck or a rogue deck that you want to play around this card.
Bro, we're talking about, we're 100% bringing gadgets back with this card.
All right, next card. All right, so Extra Hero Hell Divisor. Do you know what this does?
Oh, Extra Hero Hell Divisor. This is one that's it searches normal monsters. I know it's wish I could think about it, but I know it makes Grand Merge really good.
All right, so if it's summoned, or Link summoned, you can reveal one hero fusion monster from your extra deck, add 2 fusion materials with different names listed on it from your deck to your hand. You cannot special summon monsters during the turn you activate this card effect except hero monsters. You can only use that effect once per turn. Fiend monsters this card points to gain attack and defense equal to their level times 100. So the card's fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. The card's insane. The only problem is the classic problem that all the hero cards that are releasing lately have is that you can only go into hero monsters that turn.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, you got some crazy stuff you can do now. Because I've been playing the fucking hero deck for the past couple weeks ever since I got the evil hero cards, and, like, what you can do is actually insane. But you don't have a play around Nibiru other than Dark Calling. But I mean, like I said, that card's insane. The only problem is the hero access to don't have, like, the greatest monsters to search.
Yeah, having to reveal 2 specific fusion materials from one card in heroes. I mean, I don't know that much about it, but I feel like it's extremely limiting.
The Visor on this card is like, it's a super high impact card, but you have to play. It's like Brilliant Fusion, where Brilliant Fusion super high impact, but you have to play bricks to make it high impact. Which, don't get me wrong, like, we're getting more cards, more support for the hero deck in terms of Sunriser, the new fusion monster that searches Miracle Fusion. We're getting Liquid Man and so on and so forth. Like, we're getting a bunch of support, but Hell Divisor, it's like in one of those weird places. One, it makes Grand Merge an insane card because now you can just search material to make Grand Merge, and Grand Merge can tag out for another hero. And, like, there's insane OTK potential behind there, but, like, it's just giving a deck the same trick, just a different look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it really brings anything new to the hero toolbox, which, I mean, it's a good card, but it's not what the deck needs to elevate itself in the metagame, you know?
It's still just a very strong rogue contender, but I mean, Hell Divisor, like, it's crazy. Like, I'm super excited for Hell Divisor.
All right, so next card. Selene, the Sacred Empress of Magic. So this is the Endymion focused link monster. It's not directly in the archetype, but it is. So if this card's link summoned, place spell counters on this card equal to the number of spells on the field and in the graveyard. While an Endymion is on the field, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. Once per turn during the main phase, quick effect, remove 3 spell counters from your field, special summon a spellcaster from your hand or graveyard in defense position to a zone this card points to. So I'm not a pendulum expert, I don't pretend to be, but have seen this card coming up in discussions as well as like OCG deck lists that are more focused on like the pure Endymion cards. And I think it's just another like it's a good generic link 3 for pendulum summoning, and outside of that, like, it's just protection.
It's another trick you have for pendulum to go into, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's got 3 downward pointing arrows, and it offers some additional value. Like, I know Metaltron offers something, but it does nothing going first.
Right, that's the big problem.
All right, and here's one of the big ones from the set, the Predaplant Link. So this card is pretty nutty in the right context. I think people are over-exaggerating it quite a bit because they're just forgetting that there's a restriction at the end of the card text. So you can pay 2,000, send a Polymerization, normal or quick play spell from your deck to your grave, and this effect becomes that effect. So you can send Super Poly, Polymerization. I mean, honestly, those are the only 2 I can think of. Oh, Red Ice Fusion.
It gives you access to a lot of cards, actually.
Yeah. It gives you an immediate answer to certain board states. So if you're playing Super Poly and you have the extra deck, like if you're playing Super Poly if you're maining it or going into games 2 and 3 and you want to have access to it even when you don't draw it, it's a generic card. It's 2 effect monsters. If you can make it and activate the effect and force a response out of your opponent, if they don't answer, the effect becomes Super Poly's effect. So you don't have to discard, but you still get to fuse their monsters away and they can't respond to it. So it's pretty crazy, but also the last line of text, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. So that's your one play.
I mean, I don't know. That card on paper just seems so really crazy. But like, yeah, like the restriction kind of sucks, but like, it just makes it to where like, okay, so you're looking at decks like now and you're having to play against combo, right? And one of the big outs is Super Poly, right? You go from only having 3 copies of it in your deck to draw and an opening hand of 6 going second. So now any 2 monsters make it.
Yeah, but it's not an on-summon effect. It's in it, like, you don't have priority. Your opponent has a chance to get rid of the link materials. They have a chance to get rid of the monster when it's summoned. It's not a perfect answer, but I think it's a fair toolbox for a going second player to have, because it forces a response, and if they don't, you have
like that. I think that's where like the biggest power of the Predaplant Link comes from, is that it forces an immediate response, something that they weren't prepared for, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm happy to see it. Decks that play Super Poly generally have the space for something like this. They might have to cut one of their targets, probably Violet Chimera or something, one less copy of Starving Venom. But this card is definitely going to see play, especially in rogue decks, as long as Super Poly remains legal. And what it does, like, if Super Poly goes down to 1, it doesn't matter. You either draw it or you make this.
Yeah, if Super Poly, like you said, it doesn't matter at that point. But I think that where that card particularly is really going to shine is rogue decks, like the Dark Magician deck playing Red Ice Dragoon.
And, I mean, one thing to note is it sends for costs, so it can't be ash blossomed, which is pretty nice. He does lose to Valor and Imperm, but I mean, almost every card in the game does.
Yeah.
All right, so I like that card. Moving on, the Sky Striker Ace Zeke, or it's Zeke, and this is the first Link 2 Sky Striker. What do you think about it?
The Link 2 Sky Striker, that's the one that lets you mind control.
No, so cannot be special except by Link Summon, so you can't raid tag out into it. You can special summon it once per turn. It requires any two Sky Striker, any two monsters, including a Sky Striker. And if this card's Link Summon, you can target one monster, face-up monster on the field, and banish it until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then you can send a card you control to the grave, and it gains 1,000 attack, and it's at 1,500.
The Link 2 sounds broken to me. Like, you now have an in-archetype makeable that doesn't clog your main monster sounds. Like,
yeah, its effect is great. Like, I very much enjoy it. The restriction makes it a lot better. You can't raid tag out into it, but being able to take something with mind control or Widow Anchor, or actually just, normal summon something else and get an effect that you really like, that Sky Striker couldn't play because it would clog up the main monster zone. You can like link it off and then climb back down into Hayate or Shizuku. So as long as the deck doesn't sustain any more major hits, this card's going to see play. But it's quite a ways away. This card's coming out in Dual Overload in March, so that's 4 months from now. Do you really want people to be activating and engage on you for another 4 months?
Not really.
And then, if this card comes out, they're not going to hit it, so that's another like 2 or 3 months. So you're looking at 2 years of Sky Striker.
It's almost like Burning Abyss, but with spell cards.
All right, and here is the best card in the set, depending on who you ask. It's either this or the next one. It's Union Carrier. This card is going to create some upsetting game states. So you just get to equip a card from your main deck to a monster you control, basically.
Basically, what we're trying to tell you here is if you have access to a dark monster, you have domain lock, boys.
Yeah. My God. So you can do degenerate stuff like that, or at the very minimum, this card is like Foolish Burial with extra steps. So it's going to be a fantastic combo enabler because you can just equip that card from your deck to a monster and then link off that monster, and they both go to the grave, proc other effects. Yeah, you can't special summon a monster with that name, but it doesn't restrict you from using the effect. So this card is, I'm so glad we're not getting it in Dual Overload. You're going to get locked out with the stupid Buster Whelp under like double Colossus, and like even like Buster Dragon equipped with that thing is just like a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's going to be insane. Like, it's actually going to be crazy.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to it, but this card's great. Depending on who you ask, if you like playing Floodgates, shout out to Doug. All right, and one of the last two cards, since we're closed on time, World Keymaster Lib. This is like the World Legacy. I thought that archetype or theme was done. I'm not going to read the effect. It is going to see play in combo. It's just good utility. It offers a lot of value. Do you know what it does?
Not off the top of my head. I remember seeing it. I remember people going nuts about it, but then it just kind of died out.
I mean, it's a free +1. You can set a World Legacy spell or trap from the deck, but you can't use it that turn. So obviously, our World Legacy card pool is just like anything you want, you have access to. So you'll probably set a trap. It'll probably be Sorrows, which is the Judgment, as long as you have a co-linked monster. It just offers another form of negation for those Wombo combo turn 1 boards. And then
I
if
see.
you link it off, what is it? If it's sent to the graveyard as link material, you shuffle a card on the field in the deck. So it's just a nutty card. It's going to see play.
Oh, for sure. Just I don't think it's going to be as impactful as everyone makes it out to be. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's going to fall back into the combo scene, and then I don't think it's going to be played because you have to have a World Legacy in your graveyard to summon it, and the only ones you either have to go out of your way to deck build around it, or you're just going to play Ib combo.
Fair enough.
And then the last card in the set is Five-Headed Link Dragon is the translation. It's a lot less cool than Link God Dragon. But this card is unaffected by other card effects. If you use all 5 attributes to make it, it blows up every card on the field, which that's not going to happen. It requires 5 individual monsters and can't be destroyed by battle with monsters with the attributes of Dark, Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind. And then it's got a maintenance cost of banishing 5 cards from the graveyard face down during your opponent's end phase. I'm not looking forward to this card. I don't think it's healthy. Like, yeah, it's an insane amount of investment with 5 individual monsters, but something that can't be destroyed by battle and is unaffected by card effects that's sitting at 5,000. Like, how can that be a good thing for the game?
See, for sure, but I don't think it's for the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Like, we dealt with Masterpiece, and this is an extra deck-esque Masterpiece. Like, you're going to go up against some stupid rogue deck at a fucking regional where their, like, whole goal is to make this thing and just watch you try to out it. But it's not going to warp the format. It's not going to make everybody play Kaijus in the main or side deck. It's just another card that you're going to be like, really? You're playing that card?
Just a novelty card at that point.
All right, so we're over time already by 2 minutes. Joe, you got any thoughts on either Needlefiber or Dual Overload or Link Vrains Pack 3?
I mean, I think Link Vrains Pack 3, I think there's a lot of really good cards in it, but I think there's a lot that fall short other than the last couple that we talked about. Apparently my internet connection has the quality of a toaster this week, so I have no idea what's going on there, and, tell you guys my sauce.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed what we talked about, please check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/bingohd, youtube.com/theduelfactory. I tell you to do that so that we can get topic ideas. We want to know what you guys actually want to hear. Right now, we're just running our mouth bored on a Sunday night. So if there's something you want us to talk about, let us know on one of our YouTube channels. But with that being said, I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Peace out.
Okay, bye.